Hey guys! Welcome to my very first art video with my voiceover. The reason for this is because I wanted to challenge myself if I can color an art piece with using only the default brushes of Photoshop. So I have the reference photo right here. Basically, I started with a sketch. As you can see, I do not totally copy the entire reference photo. I don't do realism. Notice the exaggerated proportions. The eyes are bigger, the head is bigger, the shoulder and the neck are quite smaller than the reference photo. My reason for that is I wanted to create an art that is recognizable that I am the one who created the piece. Because if I do realism, as in totally copy the entire reference photo and turn it into an art, how would you know that this specific person is the one that created this art without having those signature or logo on the piece? I saw a lot of artists that can do photorealism, which is actually pretty awesome. But for me, I wanted to experiment. I don't want to just copy. I want to take out the ideas inside my head that I can turn this reference photo into something a little bit different, and when someone sees it, even without looking at the signature or the logo, I want them to know that this art style, this person created this. You see, that's a total different level of feeling for an artist. Also, additional reason for not doing the photorealism is that they are taking so much long to finish, because you have to pay attention to every little detail that you could in a reference photo. I saw a lot of artists that did a photorealism and they said that it took them like 15 to 18 hours to complete with the piece, which is not fit in my schedule. I wanted to create an art in just a short period of time. That's why I kept doing these studies. On this piece, it took me actually 3 hours to finish this because of the studies I did along with the challenge of not using a custom brush to color this piece. On this piece, well, most of the piece that I did only took me 2 hours, mostly 2 hours. And this piece, it took me 3 hours to complete it. Like I said, that's because I challenged myself if I can study coloring using the default brushes of Photoshop, which actually turned out good than I expected. As you can see here, I am struggling a bit on the shadows and trying to learn making the translucency of the skin. I'm not actually worrying about how long this is gonna take. I was like, hell, I'll just continue this study, learn everything that I need to learn from it. I stopped worrying of how long it will take, because maybe after this study, the next time that I will do something like this, it will take shorter than the time that I actually spent on this one. That's the purpose of studies. You learn the pattern, you learn the light placements, you learn the shadows, learn the ambient lights, which will actually help us when we proceed on our next piece. And if we keep doing these studies, if we keep learning, who knows, maybe one day we'll end up doing a great piece in less than 2 hours, or maybe even less than an hour. I know this piece is not that great, not that good, not that perfect, but I'm actually proud to have created this kind of piece. You see, I do mostly a cartoonic cute portrait, but this one, it's slightly realism. It's, the nose are a bit real than my previous art post. Addition to that is it will help us put something different in the piece that is not in the reference photo. Like like if the pose doesn't have hands, if the reference photo doesn't have any dogs or cats, if we want to add some cats in it, some dogs, we can do that. We can do that because we already know how the light actually works. Like what I did here, the reference photo is not smiling. Here I created this character to actually, you know, make her glow a little bit, make her smile a little bit. You can see it on her expression that she's actually smiling. Not that smile that's kind of happy, but a smile of being content on the environment. You know, what I really struggled here is doing the clothing, which is really my weakness. Doing the clothing and actually the environments, which I hope that someday I will improve. And maybe after this, the next piece will be studying some environments, or maybe I'll continue studying this portraits, this kind of lights, and this kind of proportion. And after I can create something like this in less than 2 hours, or in just an hour, maybe I can move to another study. I can move to studying the environments. Because as you can see here, the environment is really not looking great. I mean that doesn't look like an environment, but I did what I can. I did what I studied, and using only the default brushes again. So yeah, I did what I can to turn it into something that's looking like an environment, that's looking like a background for this portrait. And actually I'm just studying it, because if the background doesn't turn out good than I expect it, I will just remove it and turn it into something gray and apply some particles, which you can see on my previous art post. Actually, that's what I usually do if I cannot draw the background, if I cannot create the background. Actually, I'm having a hard time for the environment, because I just started digital art September 2020, and I'm still learning. And back then I was doing traditional, and I thought that digital art is really easy because you can undo everything. You make mistake, you just Control Z, and then it's gone, and you can change, you can edit, you know, you can change the colors instantly. But when I actually entered the digital art and tried to create a piece, I said to myself that if I can create a good piece on traditional, why not on digital art? But when I tried to do that on digital art, I was like, how the hell am I not being able to create a good piece in digital art now that I have the power of the Control Z, the undo? It turns out it's not that easy. It's not easy, as we can see. There are some fundamentals that we need to learn on digital art before we actually can create a decent art from it. So as you can see here, I did what I had to do to make the clothing look like a clothes, and apply the lights of the snow, sunlight and ambient light of the snow into the clothes. And yeah, the hard round brush actually makes the hair awesome, you know. I'm actually surprised myself that I was able to create that kind of hair strands with using only the hard round brush at 2 or 3 pixels. You know, that's what my art inspiration is saying, that you don't need a fancy brush to actually create a good art, to actually create a, yeah, this is not a good art, but yeah, it's acceptable. for me. So that's it. That's the process, and that's my opinion. That's what I can say for this. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. And if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you're not, then consider subscribing, and yeah, it will help me a lot, really. And if you don't want, then if you don't want to subscribe, then I actually respect that. It's okay, it's okay. And yeah, I added some birds which is not in the reference photo. And yeah, that's all. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video that I'll be posting.